So you guys between 1967 and 71 recorded 4 albums, and then soon after the band stopped performing together. What was the reason for that?
Well, we didn't stop performing altogether. What happened was that we had the Vietnam War, and our lead singer, Pete, his mom took ill, and he went back out to Puerto Rico. And we had a couple of the guys, Eddie and Angel, the conguero. Eddie was the original timbalero. They went and were drafted. Oh, wow. So all of a sudden, we had half of the band was gone. And in the meantime, we had contracts for gigs, so we had to kind of fill in the blanks really quick. And during our playing with all of the bands in New York City, one of the bands that we intersected with a couple of times was Angel's brother, Ray J, who had an orchestra. And we saw, we worked a couple of shows with them, and that was also different than now. Almost every place you played, you always had 1 or 2 bands, and sometimes 3 bands.
Okay.
Now it's like, boy, you could count on a hand.
That's right.
The last time that you actually played with a band. Sometimes we played with a band. We went to Greece. Were you in Greece many years ago when we were with Magna Gopal? Yeah. So we performed with Magna Gopal, but they played on one night and we played another.
Right.
Back before, you always were playing with somebody. So
like in the same night,
at the same night, same place. Yeah, that was routine. So we were playing and we had seen these guys, and the one thing that impressed me in particular was not only did they play their instruments well, but they had great voices, and I was so jealous because, as I said, the original New Swing, no voices, nothing happening there, So when I always said, wow, man, it'd be great to have guys that could sing like that with us, I was like, so we approached first. The first thing we needed right away was the bass player. So we talked to Harry. Harry came on, and then in short order there was an opening for congas, and of course we had seen you, but Harry right away said, "What about my brother?" And we said, "Well, we were going there." So Angel, and that's another funny thing because some people say, "Well, you guys aren't really the original New Swing."
To me, you guys are, but...
Well, but this is the point. They're talking, like, if you're talking Jurassic Park, I guess, maybe, I'm the only one left from that group, but the group has been together 52 years, and Angel and Harry have been 46 years, so that's kind of...
original.
It's pretty original, I guess you would say, So they came on during the 70s. Now, we didn't record any records, but at that time, the band kind of started exploring, because now we finally had some voices and we could do things that we really wanted to do and perform them. The original band had done a couple of tunes that were great tunes, but they were really strong vocal tunes, and they were hard for us to perform in person, Okay. So there was a lot of tunes that we had to give up at the altar because it's not going to fly that good, So now we were able to do whatever we wanted to, and the Boogaloo had been in, and we were from the city, of course, so we were starting to do a lot of crossover type of music, and the band kind of morphed from one thing to the other. We had a spell where the great Angel Canales was singing with us. Mm-hmm. We had another spell where we had Artie Webb, the great flute player.
But none of this was recorded.
No, recorded. That was just there was a time that in the mid '70s where we had a guitar player and a drummer along with what we were doing. So we were doing really crossover. We were doing stuff by the Temptations and the Four Tops, and really nice renditions in addition to the Latin stuff.
With beautiful harmonies.
With really nice harmonies, because now we have more than an abundance of singers. In addition to Harry and Angel, we also had Jesus Santiago Antimbales, who was a great singer. So we had more voices than we could use. So we were featuring the voices all the time, and but the band kind of morphed. There was a little time after '75 where we were actually playing charanga.
Right.
So
wow.
We were just going.
Are there really no records of this?
No records, no. Well, there's one that we did, which wasn't released.
The one with
Puerto Rico and Open Up Your Mind.
Even someone who might have recorded it, like, you know, they have
Maybe.
old footage.
Oh no, that there is
That there is.
Ernie Elmsley, right?
Yeah, the gentleman that passed away, he used to work in the what's the name of that club on?
He was at every club, but I know there's one club in particular. But every place that you went, Ernie was
He
there.
would record you live.
It's not like now where there's a million people with, you know,
Recording,
anybody could record you. But in those days, it was Ernie, because he's the only one who had the equipment.
Right.
He'd go around, he'd set up, and of course the bands knew him already. So, and boy, he recorded everybody. He must have such an amazing library.
Right.
Because he caught all these bands in person, even if the sound wasn't great, because of, you know, I mean, it's like now, right? Sometimes somebody gets you on a cell phone and doesn't sound too good.
But still.
But they got you. But now everybody got you, so it doesn't, if there's too much got yous, you know.
But there is recorded stuff. I mean, there is. We recorded legally that MCU was it was Mercury Records.
Yeah.
It was done through Mercury Records. Was never released. It was shelved, and up until today, that still lies on shelf.
And some really nice material
Yeah.
there.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if you've heard Puerto Rico, Esto es para ti.
Yeah.
That was on that album. That one was released because that particular tune was put on a 33 RPM disco with two sides. Open Up Your Mind was on one side and Puerto Rico was on the other. That particular tune and that record, today, there was only like 80 copies.
Yeah, we only did about 80 copies, 60
but
or
they
80.
weren't sold.
Not sold.
They were given out for, DJs and stuff like that. Today is one of the most sought out record in the business. I just found out just this past weekend, a DJ collector that paid $400 for that album.
Wow.
And then he tells me it just went up. I just checked this week, and they're asking for $3,500 for that record. And it's something that I say to myself, oh my God. And now because we're going to Colombia in April, and that's one of the most listened to song in Colombia, we had to redo it.
And we don't know how, because it was we never released it.
Never.
Right.
And everybody that we talked to, any place, they always, we actually performed it in San Francisco this weekend for the first time in 45 years or whatever. I mean, it's a hell of a long time. And DJs and everybody, wow, you guys are playing that, wow. And then we got people, everybody, because of Facebook. So now DJs in Europe, you guys are playing that. I mean, we were amazed how many people know the song, and it was never released. So that was.
That's exciting.
This is exciting.
So basically, we gotta go find Ernie and get all of his videos.
Ernie boy, yeah, Ernie he has something.
Get this record that's hidden on a shelf.
Yeah.
So we talked about the time in the 70s where New Swing was transforming and mutating into all these different things because you lost some members, and you mentioned that at some point there wasn't New Swing Sextet anymore because it wasn't a sextet. You guys were called El Nuevo Swing.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen right away.
Yeah, but I think it was when that unreleased album that we were talking about, that was primarily English language. The other thing was the whole New Swing Sextet. The name was awkward always. It was kind of a nondescript name, and throughout all the years, it was like people were thinking that we were a swing band, and so. Since we were a Latin band, that's right. ENS, we first did El Nuevo Swing to let people know it was Latin somehow. It has something to do with Latin.
Right.
And then we made it ENS. We thought that the acronym would be a little more impressive or cute. But I do have a story about the name, which maybe I shouldn't do now because we're doing this kind of chronologically. It goes a little further back, more recent times where we were kind of tossing around the idea of changing the name, but I'll come back to that.
Okay, all right. But then eventually the band did break up. So what was the reason for the band breaking up, and then when did you guys come back together again?
well, I think I was the first one that left because you guys,
We
you
continued-
stayed, you continued with Artie for a little
Continued
while.
to
right?
go for a little while.
Yeah.
That's when we started experimenting with other instruments other than the vibes.
Right.
The vibes was really our signature.
It was a cool, they just
instrument.
wanted me out.
No, actually not. That's why we came back and we brought him back from the dead for a while. No, but no, we started experimenting with other instruments, and it was never a
Quite
sextet
the same.
anymore. Yeah, so we kind of like did different types of Latin music. We did charanga, we did conjunto style, we did a few different styles where we brought in flute players, we brought in violin players, we even played with sax and trumpet at sometimes, which never represented New Swing Sextet.
Right. So why did you leave initially, George?
I think there were two reasons. One, the drug scene, you know, not that it was that awful. It was probably worse in the '60s.
Yeah.
So here, late '70s. But for me, it was more I wasn't taking anything, and you know, it just became tiring going to the men's room sometime in the middle of the night and somebody offering me something, and no, you know, and it was like, oh, you don't want my stuff because you're with the band. You think you have, you know, this, that, or the other. So that was one thing, and the other thing was that for me, there was a new wave of musicians and bands coming together at that time. I think the '70s were primarily like the Fania era.
Yeah.
But then these new bands were coming in, and even though I was only, 32 at the time, I just thought that, you know, I've done whatever I was going to do with Latin music, and just,
Basically,
you know,
had an early
yeah, I was
retirement.
in the process of becoming a graphic, you know, artist and starting my own company. So I said, I'll just do that and, you know, say goodbye to the music. And I have an instrument that's tough to lug around, you know. So there were a number of circumstances, but for me, that was kind of it. I think those three things, stepping, and as much as anything, stepping aside for the next generation of musicians. Yeah.
So, Angel, did you also leave the band at some point?
Not right away. Not right away.
And what was your
We
reason?
continued on because we still just, you know, George never liked to do the business end of this scene. So I used to take care of the bookings and all the promos and all that stuff, and I still had a lot of gigs coming in. And like a musician, we still were making a couple of dollars on this, so I continued to do it. We had another singer by the name of Alex Diaz at the time, and he had a whole bunch of different friends and musicians that we kept calling in and using, and we kept trying to do the same numbers of the New Swing Sextet, but we were trying to improvise with other type of instruments. So we kept going for a little while. Of course, you know, it came to a time where then we started butting heads because there was a real big head trip at the time with the different musicians. You know, before we had a cluster and we knew what we wanted. It was George, myself, my brother Harry, Hector, and we kept New Swing Sextet in place.
Right.
And the band was smaller, of course.
Right.
So it was easier to handle. So I think that's what finally broke up New Swing from going further. And we stopped. I started playing with other bands, you know, hiring myself out. I was with Wayne Gopal for a while. I played with Johnny Colon for a little bit. I played with a whole bunch of local bands that kept working a lot at that time, and that's what I did. Then I stopped for about 3 years myself. My brother Harry kept working as a freelance bass player, and we all kind of like went our ways.